You're listening to the PR Wind Down Podcast, the show for public relations professionals who are ready to see real change in the PR industry. We are your hosts, April White and Laura Schooler. Let's get ready to wind down. Okay, Laura, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
I'm just getting a wave, just a small, like a half hand wave, like a beauty pageant wave.
Oh, right. Yes, that's me. Always in a beauty pageant.
I hope you waved all your clients like that when they get on a phone call. How you doing? Do you? No, you don't. The dead fish.
How did you know? That's so funny.
Because you did the dead fish.
I did. I didn't know that, like, people, I don't know, outside of my head knew the dead fish.
I mean, what else would that be?
Well, apparently I'm so adept at doing the dead
charades.
Fish.
I mean, so we should definitely play.
What's this?
The lilting mermaid.
No, it's a tissue falling to the ground.
I said lilting. I really meant like wilting. But lilting is even funnier. What would a lilting mermaid look like? Show me.
I don't know. What does lilt mean?
That's why it's extra. Usually you have like a lilt in your voice so it's like sing-songy. So I would imagine a lilting. Actually, no, I have to look it up. I imagine a lilting mermaid. I'm going to tell you to the internet. One moment, please. I'm imagining it would be like a dancing mermaid. To speak, sing, or sound with a lilt. So it would be like the music lilted.
Sing-songy?
The music lilted and swaggered in a dance rhythm. Or like sometimes, girls have like a lilting voice. It's like kind of sounds like flowery and...
Yeah, I don't think this is one that I should do. I'm not that good of an actor.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we can call on our trusted fans to send in a video. And if
lilting mermaid?
Of a lilting mermaid. And whoever has the best lilting mermaid, what do they get, Laura? What's the prize?
They get to be on the show.
Okay, great. So whoever has the best lilting mermaid, you get to be on the show. So send it in. I'm looking at you, Kristen Nicey. All right. With that, should we introduce our guest?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Are you guys in the same location but calling in from different? Are you actually in different?
We're not. No, I'm in my house and she's at home too.
I was imagining that you were like in different rooms and you're calling.
We've done that before.
It's happened.
Yeah.
All right. So our guest today is a double guest, and it is the mother-daughter duo, Carin Warner and Carly Martinetti. And together they co-founded Notably PR, where they have taken on a Fortune 500 behemoth selling carcinogenic cleaning products, and then on behalf of a green cleaning products client, and did so successfully. And they both had a personal reason. Both of the mother's parents had lymphoma. So it's a very touching story, but also one that was very close to home and something you guys I know are passionate about. And so good for you for taking on Goliath and doing so successfully. And I'd love to hear a little bit about that and also just what you guys are doing together. I love the founder story of the co-founding of the mother-daughter duo. I think that's super awesome. So I want to hear all about it.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'll just tell a quick story about seventh generation is the client that you just were referencing. They came to us and really, they hadn't really been a brand that people knew about, certainly not in the mainstream. They were relegated primarily to the green category of a supermarket or convenience store. And they really wanted to get the word out that a lot of the sprays and cleaners that we use do have VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds that can be carcinogenic. I didn't know that at the time, but I learned And I learned that something as simple as just inhaling that could cause very serious damage. And so I became really on a mission to tell the world about it. And one of the things we did was actually do a 3D mailer of a medicine cabinet, and it had in it all the horrible things that are in, say, a Windex, for example,
Yep.
and saying, you can clean with all of these things, and then you open up the medicine cabinet and it's a seventh generation spray bottle, or you can use all of these wonderful natural compounds that will clean beautifully but won't endanger your family. So that was kind of the start of the mission. It went on and evolved from there. And as as you said, it was a personal story because both my parents at different times had lymphoma, and they have traced that to cleaners and pollutants in the home, as well as other things, of course. So
Mm.
I felt like, we'll never know the root cause of why my parents got that, but it certainly was something I wanted to tell the world about. The great news was that it started to get seventh generation a lot of traction. They were put more into the mainstream cleaning aisle, and ultimately they were sold to Unilever for close to $1 billion. So, we did very well for them, and really got the word out. So very proud of that campaign. But I think I'll turn it over to Carly so she can tell you about Notably.
Yeah. No,
Awesome.
I'm happy to do so. And just to clarify, seventh generation was an account that actually my mom had when she had her last agency, Warner Communications. So just backing up a bit, my mom had started another agency called Warner and had that for over 20 years. It was based on the East Coast. She worked with tons of well-known today brands, a lot of them in the direct-to-consumer space. I had been operating in PR, but on the other coast, on the West Coast, I was a partner at a PR agency, mostly dealing with tech startups and a lot of SaaS businesses. And she ended up selling that company to venture capital firm and had a non-compete. And then basically once the non-compete ran out, we were like, why are we not doing PR together? We're doing it, but on opposite ends of the country. So I ended up moving back to the Boston area, which is where I am now. And we started Notably together. So we are about 2.5 years old. We are totally remote. So that's kind of one of our, I would say, mainstays about us is that we will always be a remote agency. We don't plan on having an office ever. So we have about 15 people all over the country right now. And our bread and butter is earned media. So, but we are, really good at getting traction with earned media, whereas I feel like a lot of PR firms struggle in that space because it is so hard, right? I mean, we all know it's, there's 7 PR people to every 1 journalist, I think is the latest. So it's a very tricky space, but one that we really enjoy, mostly because that dopamine rush that you get when you actually do get a hit for a client is unmatched. So yeah,
Totally. I love
bit
it.
about us.
I have to ask the super obvious but kind of hard question. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
So how does this affect your relationship? I know a lot of us don't have a relationship with our mom where we want to talk every day, let alone work together every day, right? So you guys,
I couldn't imagine.
Have you always been close? So have you always been close? And then how is this either challenged or made the relationship stronger, or both, right? I mean, I feel like that's a lot to take on in a relationship. I'm almost harder than a couple, right?
Yeah, I think you start and then I'll give my.
So Carly went to UCLA undergrad, and she was away from me for 12 years on the West Coast. So I couldn't have these nighttime conversations with her because I was, 3 hours ahead. And so that was hard on me. She's my oldest. I have 3 daughters. Carly's my firstborn. And, I missed her terribly. I think we've always been close. For me, it's been a blessing and a wonderful thrill to be able to work with a young woman who I think is better than I am in so many ways. And I'm just so proud of her every day.
Aw.
And it's just, a dream come true. So I always say it's so great that I gave birth to my co-founder. There it is. So, yeah.
And I didn't mean
I
to
love
dip
it.
out right when that question was asked. I wasn't trying to
She's
avoid.
she's like, all right, compose yourself. How am I
Come
going to say
back.
Yeah.
Let's hear your side.
No, the light just went out, so I had to fix that.
No, I saw. It's fine.
Yeah. So no, yes, I think my other perspective on this is that, I think we also wanted to make this really work, but there were some challenges, I think, in the beginning. Like, I'm very much a my way or the highway type person, and I feel like my mom's also that way. And so when we started, we were like butting heads a little bit because we each wanted to do things like a very certain way. And she had her agency as a solo founder and was used to doing her things. And then I was used to being in charge of my things. So it was like we had to kind of work that out a little bit, figuring out like the best way to have each of our roles be complementary versus like adversarial. So
Yeah.
I do think like we encountered that. Now, though, I feel like it's just brought us really close and together in a really great way that I don't think a lot of people have the opportunity, as you said. And so, now we work really well together. I'm not just saying that. Like we have like our own little like delineated roles. I'm definitely
Yeah.
more the like media relations, boots on the ground, like strategist. She's more kind of the high level, big picture PR. Here's how we're going to get you to be, IPOing next year type thing using earned media. So like we each have our strengths. And I think that just took us a little time to figure out like what they were, because yes, like we've been operating separately, but then how to use them together in a more synergistic way. So
My mother and I could have never, and I don't know if it's maybe generational, but I would have found some safety in it, I think.
mhm. Yeah,
Don't
I
you
mean,
think?
it's, you never think your co-founder is going to leave for another PR agency because it's your mom or
Right.
your daughter, right? There is that security in that they're not going to betray you. They're not going to,
Yeah.
do something crazy behind your back. Don't have to worry about that.
Right. And like just that you're going to get support
Right,
no matter what, right?
right.
And maybe if you get into a disagreement or whatever, it's not the end of the world because it's your mom and you get along with her to begin with. So
Exactly. Yeah.
interesting.
I'm so
I'll
curious.
say an interesting, just if I can just comment,
Yeah,
Carin
yeah,
and I
please.
really grappled with whether or not we were going to tell people that we were mother-daughter.
Mhm.
I was just
Right.
about to ask.
First.
Okay, that was my next question. So tell me more about that process because I was
I don't
curious.
remember
what-
exactly how long, Carly, it took for us to come out as mother and daughter.
It was at least, I would say, like a month. We were
Oh, it's more than that, I think.
No, we
It seemed longer.
Oh, you're having a fight? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. There we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, because each of us was, I think, very conscious of wanting the other to be recognized for our own skill sets. And I, especially since I had had an agency of my own and had worked at Mullen Lowe and started their PR group, I had a reputation in the industry of sorts. I didn't want anybody to think this was nepotism. And I was
gotcha.
and some people, snidely, who knew me, kind of did at first, which I deeply resented. But
Yeah.
whatever they did, and now they're eating those words.
Right.
But Carly, I don't know what your thought was on why not to tell, but that was my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was that. I think we wanted to first prove ourselves as notably the agency and, be able to just showcase how good we were working together. And then like it would basically just come out.
I feel like it's more socially acceptable, and I've never thought of this before until just now, for a father and son to work
Yeah.
together,
100%.
Exactly.
not for a mother and daughter.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things we actually decided that we were going to combat,
Mm-hmm.
Laura, because
Good for you.
it's so, throughout time it's so-and-so and son, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like you're used to seeing that. How often do you see so-and-so and daughter?
Mhm.
Never.
Yeah.
So
Never.
we're
It is really cool.
trailblazers, I guess, in that regard.
I love it
Uh-huh.
so much. How do clients respond to it? Is my first question. This is a two-part question. Second part of the question is how do your employees feel about it?
It's always so funny because either they know about it and they're like super into it. Like they're just like, that's so cool. Like I wish I could have worked my mom or whatever. Or they have no idea. And we tell them like on the call, like we just got off a new business call and we broke the news to her at that point. And she was funny because she was like, "Oh, I had no idea. But now that I look at you, I can see it." And so they never put it together until we actually say it. And then they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, like I can kind of see a resemblance. Like that
Oh,
makes
for sure. Oh yeah, I see
um,
it.
but they always are really into it, like super supportive. We've never had someone, say anything to us, obviously, but I feel like genuinely we have a really good response to it. And we're very much like on our employees' side. And I think that they know that. And
Right.
so we will always do whatever's in the best interest for our employees. And so even if I'm in the wrong or like my mom's in the wrong, we'll stick up for whoever's in the right. It's more so that we want to make sure that we have an environment where people feel like, they're number one in this. We're just kind of leading the charge, but we're colleagues at the end of the day. And that's
Right.
what it comes down to.
And I think
I
the
love
fact
it.
that you're both PR experts, it's not like your mom hired her daughter who didn't know
Right.
what else to do with her
Right.
life kind of thing. That would have been a different
Yeah.
scenario. You've been doing PR for,
Exactly.
well over a decade. And the other thing I'm thinking about, if it was my mom, I would have probably been really mean and bossy to her. so,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't think it would have worked. But again, the age gap and the generations, it was, my father and I, and he's super old. Like my parents were just too old technology wise and stuff. They would have never been able to. But my dad is still around, and I actually have done some PR with him, but for him recently.
Mm-hmm.
I showed April.
Nice.
And so
That was adorable.
he doesn't really know what I do, but he kind of does because something happened in his life. They were dedicating something to him, and he's still alive. So he was like, "Wow, imagine being alive and somebody dedicating something to you." So he's like, "We need to get this in the newspaper."
That's
So
great.
yeah, it was just like a couple months ago. So
It was really cute.
That's the best way to explain what you do is by getting someone an actual piece of coverage. And they're
right.
like, "Oh, I get it now."
Yeah. He was never a PR, like media relations person, but he had been the mayor of the town I grew up in, which was why. So he had dealt with reporters and stuff, for many years. And then the story came out, it was in the daily newspaper. And then it came out in like the weekly newspaper. He couldn't believe like the social media, somebody he hadn't talked to for over 60 years contacted him. They
Wow.
saw it on social media somewhere. Yeah. So I wouldn't work with him, but that was as close as I would ever get. My dad and I, my dad and I, me and my dad, my dad and I,
My
Yeah.
dad and my dad
I,
and me.
Dad and I.
my dad and me,
I.
my dad and I.
dad.
Right.
Wow. How many PR people did it take?
Yeah.
Get out the AP style book.
But my dad and I are much more similar personality wise. I think was very easy and took care of itself. Yeah.
What I do want to make sure we have from you guys is where can people find you and anything else that you want to make sure they know about Notably PR.
I was just going to say you can find us on our website, which is notablypr.com. We're both very active on LinkedIn. I'm also on Twitter at PR Carly is my handle. And we look at every DM that you send. So if you want to reach us, we will see it for sure.
I love it.
Hi, listeners. The conversation with Carin and Carly was great. So we're breaking this episode into 2 parts. We'll end here for this week, but tune in 2 weeks for part 2.
And we're back on our 2-week cadence with shorter, snappier episodes, so you barely have to wait to hear the rest. All right, my dear. So there is some M&M news happening.
M&M the rapper?
No, M&M the candy.
Oh.
So the first news story was about how M&M'S spokescandies were taking an indefinite pause amid a polarizing rebrand.
Because they stopped wearing high-heeled shoes.
It says M&M's announcing that they're getting rid of longstanding and mostly beloved mascots because of peer pressure is newsworthy, said Steve Marino, chief creative director. He put it in the emailed comments. And then he said, that being said, many brands use their Super Bowl moment as a chance to pull a publicity stunt. Remember when Planters faked getting rid of Mr. Peanut?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if this is real or just a thin candy shell. So basically, they first pretended, right? They're just gonna, and what you're asking about the polarizing rebrand.
Right. Wasn't it Tucker Carlson got mad because they put all of the M&Ms in sneakers so that they weren't sexualizing M&Ms? And then And then they sort of lost their allure because they were just like M&Ms and sneakers.
Yes.
People liked M&Ms and like stilettos. I'm being half facetious, but not entirely. I mean, this is what happened.
Yes, yes. So then the next piece of the news, enter part 2, because this was a planned phased approach, right? So
Now I do.
well, I'm guessing. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing. So
Yeah.
now M&M's is switching to a rebrand that's M&M'S, which is a play on Maya Rudolph's name. Maya. M&M'S are the new M&M's.
Ma and Ya.
Yeah. And then it says, just when we thought we were done caring about branding of M&M's, the brand does something else to get people talking. The company recently announced it was dropping its quote spokescandies because of the desexualization of the green M&M upsetting people so much. And then M&M's told the world to replace the candies with comic Maya Rudolph. And now it's gone a step further by changing the name completely. So first they announced that Maya Rudolph was the spokesperson. Then they decided, okay, goodbye M&M's. Now it's M&M'S. And so there's a video on social media where Maya Rudolph announces this name change. And the reaction has been, well, mixed. There's some place where she says, like, I like eating my face or something like that, right?
Well, they put the little drawing of her head on the M&Ms on some of M&Ms.
Yeah, so some of them, some of the M&Ms now have Ma, some have Ya, and then some of them have her face. Hilarious.
So she says she loves eating her own face or her own head or whatever, which is really funny. So it's like New Coke. It's like the Planters Peanuts. It doesn't matter if people like it or hate it or not. It's going to get so much media coverage. And now everybody's going to be like, ooh, what are they going to do at the Super Bowl?
I mean, I don't even eat M&Ms, and do you know how much I want to go buy a pack of M&Ms?
Totally. Right.
And I probably wouldn't even eat them. I just put them on my desk because, like,
right. I would eat them, but I don't buy M&Ms, but I would. The funny thing is,
be a novelty thing sitting there for like, because this is gonna be like, flash in the pan. It'll be gone in 3 months or
well, right.
1
So
month.
You got to hang on to them for
forever.
That's like,
so eat one package and keep the rest, right?
Look, that's like my Subway card with the Wu-Tang Clan logo on it.
It's amazing. Never gonna happen again.
No.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to with. Sorry, I just made our producer bleep out something. It was all for the sake of art.
But so I think that Maya Rudolph is the best spokesperson on planet Earth for many reasons. I think they really knocked this out of the park in terms of PR.
I wish I knew what they paid her.
I don't know her in that much stuff, but what I do know her in, she's
amazing.
Great. I really only know that I know her from Idiocracy, which is just one of the greatest movies ever, and Bridesmaids.
And you know her from SNL, I'm sure, right?
I don't know. I never watched SNL.
Really?
I mean,
and you didn't see
Murphy was on in 1985. What?
You didn't see Wine Country either?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's another comedy that she's in.
But I did go out with a guy for a few months who was like a head writer at Comedy Central, and he thought she was the greatest.
She's amazing.
Yeah. You know the story of her mother?
No.
So her mother is the amazing singer Minnie Riperton, who did the song. I'm going to sing right now. Get ready, everybody. Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. And her voice was like insane, like octaves and all of this stuff. So, and she died very, very young of breast cancer, like 31 years old. And the story got even more, because she died so tragically, so young. But that is Maya Rudolph's mother.
Wow.
So it's a really interesting story. She covers all the bases, culturally speaking. She's hilarious. She's a woman. She likes to eat her own face, whatever, it's like.
Richard Rudolph, a music producer and soul singer, Minnie Riperton.
Yeah. So she's like edgy, but not offensive. She's, you know what I mean? She's the perfect person for this kind of thing. Like
And
she's cool.
she's so funny and she's so
Right.
sweet and like, yeah.
Yes.
And you like get the comedy just from the fact that she's the one doing it. You already know it's a joke, right? Like, you
Right.
know, M&M's isn't really rebranding M&M, you know,
Right.
the Manyas.
I mean, M&M's, whatever. It's like an old company that doesn't really like to shake anything up because they need to sell, 18 billion M&M's every day, and they don't want somebody boycotting them. So there's only like so far that they'll go, but for a very middle of the road sort of brand, I think that they've done a great PR job.
I mean, I have nothing bad to say about this. I think it's very funny.
Yeah.
I think it's a great stunt. I mean, this is the kind of stuff I love to see when you've got the budget for it.
Right.
This is, big budget done right.
And the funny thing is, I mean, I'm so like out of it. I didn't even really know that there was characters with high-heeled shoes on or whatever. I didn't know that until they started talking about how they weren't going to have them anymore. Because whatever, I don't buy
I don't
M&Ms.
think I've ever paid attention to it.
I know,
yeah.
I don't have kids. Like, I don't know. So I never paid that much attention to it until now when they're talking about it. So it just goes to show how shaking stuff up gets brands in the news and elsewhere, social media, and gets people like me and how many millions of others who weren't really paying attention to suddenly pay attention.
Well, and I mean, was anybody actually outraged about the high heels that the women?
Tucker Carlson was.
Was he?
No,
really?
He was outraged that they removed the high heels because he was saying that it was like all this gender identity stuff.
Are you sure he's not in on it? Do you know what I mean?
He could be. You're right. Maybe they're paying him too. Who knows? I have nothing more to say about the M&M stunt.
Okay, so ready for the close?
Sure.
Thank you for tuning in for the PR Wind Down podcast.
And thank you to Carin and Carly, the mother-daughter duo, PR duo, for joining us for a great interview today.
And remember, you can submit your own agency stories and questions and share our show with your friends and colleagues. If you subscribe and leave us a rating, it will help us reach new listeners like you.
And if you have an anonymous PR horror story of your own, send it our way at the contact email below the episode notes.
Can't wait to wind down with you again next time.
Good.
Doing great. So happy to see
Good.
you.
I
were on
know,
the
you
phone, so I've
too.
never actually seen you. Just
Hey,
talking on the
that's right.
phone.
I only
Yeah.
saw your still shot. That's right.
Yeah. Sorry to
Awesome. Well,
disappoint.
no, oh my God.
The still shot's better.
I mean, isn't
Oh,
everyone's,
wow.
let's be honest, isn't that the point of a headshot?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I'm better
Yes.
in video.
You're an anomaly.
I do.
Everyone else.
It's
It's
because
so-
Laura thinks she's not photogenic.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true.
Looks good to me.
Well, right, because I'm not in a photo.
So funny.
Here's my.
Um,
Want to see my photo?
Yeah.
yes. No, she has all kinds of gags. The whole
Props.
props and gags.